New material, you've never seen this. You can either take notes or listen or know that it's on class notes, however you manage it in here. I trust you in that. I don't have handouts for you to take notes in because it really is not going to be that hard. I'll give you more clarification. You know how I usually introduce a topic and then we work on it for a day or two. So today's just an introduction to this topic, okay? And then in a little while we'll go to your homework worksheets. Daniela?
What is this topic called?
I'm going to tell you in just a second. Susan?
Oh, I was just asking if I could turn off some of the lights because I couldn't see.
So you okay now?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, so QuickTime is running. And this topic is called whether a function is even, odd, or neither. Okay? So we're talking about symmetry. Okay, and it's probably a good idea for everybody to close your computer now, just so I know that you're listening, because it makes me really nervous. Thanks. Even, odd, neither functions. There's lots and lots and lots. Most of the functions we've looked at probably are neither. Okay, but you know, most of the people that we maybe test for strep throat, a lot of y'all have been sick with colds this fall. And you maybe went to the doctor like myself and they did like a flu test and a strep test. Did that happen to anybody besides me? So just Rebecca and I, Gabby, did you have a strep test? They swab your throat.
My mom.
Okay, so you know what I'm talking about. Many of us don't have strep. If we did, we'd have to stay home from school and we'd be on an antibiotic. So do y'all see what I mean? Like, I'd rather it not happen to me. It's not unusual that you don't have the flu, you just have a bad cold. It's not unusual that you don't have strep throat, your throat just hurts. It's not unusual that you don't have high blood pressure. When they took your blood pressure, you may have just been anxious about your test. Do y'all see what I mean?
Yeah.
However, if they do the test and you have high blood pressure, they need to give you some medicine. I'm making this sound horrible. There's some good things that happen with even, odd, and neither. You either have the flu or high blood pressure or strep throat so far. So let's say... What could somebody run a test on you that's like something good, like
Pregnancy.
pregnancy?
That's
not good age. No.
Not at our age, but in general, pregnancy is true.
Yeah, it's like
Yeah.
So fast forward 10 years and people that fast forward 10 years, you're maybe longer, and you'll be like probably hoping to have a baby. Maybe some of you don't want children, but let's just say if you actively want children, then all of a sudden that pregnancy test becomes something that you want to be positive. But many people that take pregnancy tests, they come out negative and they're like, oh, well, we'll just keep going, okay? So we need to probably thank you, Daniela, for throwing me into this conversation. In the biology lab.
Of all places.
When two people love each other.
Yeah.
Exactly. I was trying not to look at you.
Mrs.
I was trying not to look at you, and I looked that way.
Right.
And I was like, oh, this is escaping.
Yeah, we have many reminders.
Exactly.
There is nowhere safe in this.
Just nowhere safe.
There's no place like the science lab to learn about this stuff, ladies.
Of course.
Where's that? I guess on the flip of that is the woman's reproductive system.
No, the woman's reproductive system's right here.
Oh, we turned it around.
I
Okay.
think we're good.
All right. So anyway, moving on. But quite seriously, that is a good example. Like for instance, a lot of people, want to have children and they do the pregnancy test and it's negative, and but some people it turns positive and they have a baby. Okay, but there's nothing wrong with not being pregnant. There's nothing wrong certainly with not having the flu. There's nothing wrong with not having strep throat. It's just that if we know about it, and I don't know why I got off on health and pregnancy because that doesn't have anything to do with these functions. All right, so let me talk about like if you're crafty. Okay, a lot of us like arts and all the different, what's the word I'm looking for?
Arts.
Thanks, the arts. Okay, so anyway, if you're playing a piano piece or you're listening to music that you like, there's a lot of repetition in it, most likely. In the chorus, it happens over and over again. Like if you paint and you're painting a building, if you paint like the right-hand side of the flat iron's a bad example because it's such a funny shape, but even if you can't paint part of a building, you kind of got it down pat what you're going to do, and you can paint the other side because it's so much like it. Do y'all see what I mean? So in our lives, we naturally depend on a lot of symmetry. You know what symmetry means, I think. So if you're making a necklace, like back when beading was really popular, do y'all remember all those stores where you could go to, did y'all go to those where you could go to do beads or
Make meaning.
crochet?
Oh
Oh my god, I love
my
that.
God.
But that place was such a ripoff. It was like,
Make who?
make
Like you like
Make
have, like,
meanings?
cakes that were like so disgusting and you like spray paint.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then you look at
Yeah,
it.
I never went there.
Yeah.
I missed that
And
one.
you
You
were tired. You could make so much. I have so much.
So on a simple, girls,
Yes.
listen. Thank you. On a simple note, you know, it could be as easy as making a bracelet and you just decide to put on a green, 2 black, and a yellow bead, a green, 2 black, and a yellow bead. A lot of times people don't want the symmetry. To a lot of us like Picasso, I just have to throw myself in there with Picasso. To a lot of people like Picasso, they know about symmetry and they avoid it to make a point to draw your eye to it. So many people make discordant music to make you listen to it on purpose. Some people make melodious music so that we like to listen to it. You see that we get some of both? So most people that are artistic understand symmetry and they choose to make it pleasing or shocking to where your eye is drawn to it either way, okay? So we usually use symmetry to make it pleasing. Many times we use, sorry, I just forgot about something I was going to show you that has to do with that. Many times an artist will know all about symmetry and they'll intentionally avoid it and try to make it not unsymmetrical, not symmetrical, so that it's shocking, okay? So anyway, it's nice to know about it. There's symmetry all over the place. If we look up here at this cat, okay? So do y'all see that the cat's eyes are symmetric? So we have an eye here and we have an eye here. If that doesn't happen, it kind of like you do a double take on the street or something. You know, if somebody, well, for instance, my cat, Olaf, one of my cats is Olaf, the other one is Espy. But Olaf is blind in one eye. And he was like, we went to the ASP, I'll let him be my slide sometime. We went to the ASPCA, like this is where Misty came from also, my kitten, who's now a cat, about 4 or 5 years old. But for my birthday, my husband's like, I'm going to take you to the ASPCA because we were only to rescue cat. And but I was also kind of like the fake rescue person because I wanted the cutest kitten in the entire place. So I don't know who I was rescuing because this cat was going to get taken anyway. Adorable. I'll show her to you. I mean, every morning she's just awesome. Anyway, so we walked in, and of course I go right to the room with the kittens. And my kitten that I ended up getting, SP, was just like hitting the glass, like pick me, and we let her out. She had Personality Plus, and we took her home, and we were happy, and then we felt guilty that we didn't even go to any of the other rooms. So after a year, we went back to get her a companion. And we went through, and we bypassed the kittens. We thought we're really going to rescue somebody that needs rescuing now instead of somebody that was going to probably get snapped up before. I was afraid somebody was going to grab her before I could get her because she was so cute. So we went to like the room with, if you've ever been there, you kind of are going through this maze looking at cats. And they're in all different places and locations and cages and whatever. So we got to this lumpy, blind in one eye, scared of his own shadow, kind of weird looking cat. Kind of, I don't know, not like a cat. One of his eyes was weepy, the other one was blind, and one of his arms is kind of crooked. I think he'd been beaten very badly, and so he just sort of was looking at us like, I know you want pick me, and we looked at him and went, we don't want you, and we went on looking for,
Wow!
I mean, my husband and I were there together, and we're just like, okay, moving on. So we went all the way.
Exactly, I thought she would be like, you didn't want me, and she would have been like, I do want you.
Yeah,
So we went
I was gonna like recover.
Exactly.
Oh my god,
we went all the way. We went all the way. We went all the way to the end. Looked at every cat, and there were lots of beautiful cats. You know, sleek black cats, yellow cats, big. calico cats, and we got all the way to the end. They're so pretty. We got all the way to the end, and unbeknownst to both of us, our hearts had been stolen by the lumpy Miss Sharon.
Good.
So I look at my husband and I go, "We're gonna get that cat, aren't we?" He goes, "I gotta have that cat." So he was so sick and so bad off. We couldn't even get him for 3 weeks. They wouldn't even let us visit him. So we finally got him, and I was afraid he was gonna die because he hid for like a month. And we've had him for a few years now, and he is the sweetest thing, but he's still not very cute.
I want to see a picture.
I'll pull up a bit. The pictures are kind of altered so that you won't be like.
So we get a no cat picture. We didn't know filter.
But oh my gosh, he's the sweetest thing. But it's so sad because he just loves our apartment, and he's really friendly to people that come over. But if you move it all, like I could be going like this toward Olaf, and he'll freak out and run away. I mean, I think he's been really badly hurt. So he's a sweetheart. The whole point of the story is he's not real symmetric, and
that was the point.
that was the whole point of the story.
He's not
And he stole our hearts because he wasn't. Okay, so I didn't realize all that was going to happen.
Yeah, those.
I'm sorry, but
I'll
not.
get you too. No, wait, no. What?
Okay, wait. I didn't plan that story. I just thinking when I was pointing to these cats' eyes that are symmetric just to teach you an algebra lesson, I thought, oh, well, that doesn't always happen. So anyway,
Period. That's what I was getting.
so, our eyes are symmetric, our ears are symmetric. There's so much ears. So I'll let you make that point in just a second.
Okay.
Okay, but y'all see what I mean? Like you've got this dividing line in your teeth,
Yes.
and there's symmetry there. There's so much symmetry going on even in our bodies. But what did you say, Gabby?
Yeah, it's never going to be perfect.
Watch this. If I can find it. If I can't find it today, I'll show it to you later.
Oh yeah, BTS is another story, but the rest of us. Maze Face, I thought it was
That was
gonna
a
say
nice
Maze Face songs, but you know.
It doesn't look like a legit face.
You can actually get the app, but we're not going to do that right now.
None of her body is real. Her skin color isn't even real. That's the guy. Oh no, what's that?
Okay, so that actually might be what would happen to Olaf if I made him symmetric. All right, so I don't want to download it.
Can we just do images?
Hey girls, settle down or we can't do this kind of stuff. There's some models that have been volunteered to do the app. And you see how I would look at that and go, it's symmetric until they make it perfectly symmetric. And then I see how different it looks. So none of us are, I
Which
don't
one
want
is the real side?
If you look at the girl in the middle, the one on the right.
This is her, and this is when they deleted one part of her face and copied, they made it symmetric.
I think it looks better on symmetric.
Yeah.
Yes, it
Yeah.
does. Most people
So it
do.
makes it look
You can download the app and do it to yourself, but you see it looks kind of
Is
I look pretty.
She does look better.
Oh, that one's unfortunate. Okay.
Unfortunate.
Of
course, Leonardo DiCaprio
still looks gorgeous.
right.
No matter what.
Not gonna
So
lie.
it hasn't been shifted though.
So this one's interesting over here. Sometimes you just look slightly different. Sometimes you look way different. But anyway, there's actually
And then there's
Exactly how
there's
it
a
was.
difference between the left side and the right side, which I also find really cool. It's like if you copy and paste the left side to the right side of your face, it will look one way,
and then yeah, that's what they've done here.
yeah.
So that's what the app will do. It'll take half of your face and copy it to the other side, which is what we're about to do with functions. So if it was perfectly evenly symmetric, girls, I could divide it right down the middle. And for point, this eye would meet this eye, this ear would meet this ear, this tooth would meet this tooth. Do y'all see what I mean?
Yes.
Our faces, like Gabby said, I'm not going to do it now because of the interest of time, but you can even also Google people with a symmetric face that they don't like copy and paste one side to the other, but if they did, they would still look beautiful, but it's kind of rare. They would still look normal, okay? So anyway, here's where we're going with this is, another place that we see that is this. people do it intentionally a lot of times with logos. A lot of these logos are not symmetric, and they may be done that for a reason, to draw your attention to it. It's really, really hard to find what's called an odd function logo as opposed to an even function logo. An even function logo is it's evenly dispersed like this, okay? This is even. This is odd. Look at my arms.
Wait, what?
Okay, do you see how what's up here is down here?
Oh.
Okay, so that's odd. And that also, there's a lot of things that are odd functions, where this might be up at 3, 7, and this is over at -3, -7.
Isn't that like a
Okay.
reflection over the x-axis?
It's a reflection, no, even is a reflection over the y-axis, if my body is the y-axis. Odd is a reflection through the origin. And we'll write all that down later, okay? And I have good ways to remember that, but we're not that far yet. But I pulled up a bunch of logos to try to see one that might be odd. It's pretty easy to find ones that are even, like McDonald's. Let's see.
Oh no.
Here's a big bunch of them. All right, so
Insecurity.
Don't even know what that was.
Works for Facebook, and she said that they're gonna take likes.
Oh, I've heard Instagram's going too. I read an
But
article.
it's gonna be like right now, of course, over here they're
Sorry.
doing.
It's also like an option right now. Yeah. On Instagram.
Okay, so Adidas logo is even.
Yes.
This one's not quite even. Do you see how I couldn't call that even? There's a wing and a wing, a tail and a tail, but is there a beak and a beak?
No.
So that one I'd have to call neither. It's not
Pinterest.
even and it's not odd.
Oh,
This one
Like,
is
what
even.
bunnies
Girls,
do?
listen, let me talk. Shh.
Oh, no?
This one. Thanks. This one's evenly dispersed. What I mean by that is I could fold it and it would meet on itself either way. This one's more odd, okay?
Wait, one.
Because it's off.
Oh,
yeah. The swirly thingy.
Yeah.
It's not gonna swirl the same.
Is that your TV?
Yes.
Guys, remember seeing logo quiz?
An icon pop.
No, did anyone play logo quiz? We have to like put in the
I
thing.
take those on BuzzFeed a lot. Like you know the
I used to
BuzzFeed.
cheat on those.
Okay, so I think this is Pepsi. And this one is odd because if I put an axis in here, that's not where the axis would go.
I know, I heard that.
Sorry. Let's look at just this part right here. It's hard to really actually draw it. Maybe if it was different colors.
Oh, like a union.
Yeah. Do you see how this dot is down here?
Yeah.
And this dot comes through here and shows up down here. This right here is pretty far away from the axis. Girls, look. Whereas this one's not even. Do y'all see how I wouldn't say these two are even?
Yeah.
All right, so let me hit the undo button. But do you see how it's in the same spot if I come through the origin?
Yes.
And do you see how this is in the same spot if I come through the origin?
Yes.
Look at this one's really close to the axis. Do you see how this one's really close to the axis? And so this one has an odd, and you can see it's kind of a lot of times swirly, not always, okay? So it's hard to find logos that are odd sometimes, but people have them. Let's see if I see anything else that I want to point out. This one is both, well, I don't want to get into that. Volkswagen is even. Do y'all see how that and that, like if you go across, you're landing right at the same place?
Yes.
I'm looking for another odd one. There's, like I said, oh, Microsoft is odd.
Yay.
Okay.
That's what my mom
The
says.
Louis Vuitton one.
That's what my mom says.
My dad calls Google.
All right, let's look at that one. Okay, so here's Microsoft logos. Interesting how we know so many logos just to see them. So if I drew an axis on this, do you see how this point that's high shows up over here through the origin. The origin is like a machine, okay? To where you squeeze something through it and it pops out the other side. And look at this. If I squeeze it through the origin machine, do you see how it pops out the other side? There's definitely not this little pointy point over there, is there? Did y'all see what I mean? Okay. So, do you see this smooth, bumpy part here?
Yes.
It gets squeezed through the origin and you see it show up over here? All right, so that's called odd. It's not even. All right, so where we're headed with this is this. I'm going to teach you all about what it has to do with functions. Obviously, you should know that when I'm talking about functions, I'm going to be eventually talking about equations, but I'm starting a lot with the graphs right now. And so what you're going to be doing for homework is a worksheet I haven't posted yet, but I'll give you like a piece of a picture, and I'll say draw the graph if it's even, if it's an even function, and draw the graph if it's an odd function. It's really easy for me to draw even functions. It was really hard for me to draw odd functions. So I'm going to show you an easy way to do it, okay? Even, you'll have points that you can see. So this point is 2, 4. If it's even, you ought to be able to have a dot on the other side. Sorry, that's not 2, 4. That's 4, 4. Did y'all see what I did wrong there?
Yeah.
All right, so there ought to be a dot at negative 4, 4. This point looks like 2, 3. So there ought to be a dot on the other side at negative 2, 3. And do you see you can get enough to draw it? Sorry, and hopefully draw it better than me. But, I mean, it's, do y'all see what I mean? You'll be able to do even. All right, now let's do odd. All right, so you'll have a graph with points. You'll be able to see them and count them. If it's odd, it's completely opposite. All right, this is what I was telling Victoire when she was asking about what it was reflected through, okay? Do you see all those O's, girls, so you can remember it forever, okay? Odd, origin, opposite, okay? It's opposite. So instead of 4, 4, I'm going to have negative 4, negative 4.
Right.
Let me tell you myself, and I'm pretty artistic actually. I like art a lot and I like to paint, but I was really bad at these until I learned this method myself. I'm like, I can't draw these. They're upside down, they're inside out. I didn't do it the same as my teacher. So I usually take the points, girls, and take the complete opposite. What's the complete opposite of 2, 3? Negative 2, negative 3. And you see how, and this is 0, 1. The complete opposite of 0, 1 is what? You can't take the opposite of 0, can you? So it would be 0, negative 1. And you see that enables me to draw my little odd logo, okay? So do you see this point popped through the origin machine and popped out the other side?
Yeah.
So I would suggest you find a bunch of points and then find their complete opposites, and then try to connect the dots. She'll be drawing pictures, okay? Bailey?
Does that mean it's no longer a function?
Good question. Oh, what a great question. This one, I didn't plan for that to happen. So, I wish that you weren't so perceptive all of a sudden, because now I got to explain. This one just failed to be a function, and today I'm teaching even, odd, and neither functions, okay? Thank you, Bailey. Now it crosses 2 points at one time, so that it's not even an even function, okay? So, good point. I'll have to make sure in your drawings that you figure out something else to do. I'll have to be careful about that. So I'll have to be careful. Wow, that's very perceptive. And thank you, Bailey. Girls, we are studying even, odd, and neither functions. As we move forward, your focus for Friday will be even and odd. But remember, we just want to know about those. Lots of times, the function's neither. Like a lot of things that we see, and I saw a couple of hands up, I'll get to you. A lot of things that we see are like this. Sorry, that looks even, doesn't it? Okay, so a lot of functions we see are like this.
Yeah.
That's not even, that's not odd. You would say that's neither.
Neither.
It doesn't have to have symmetry. You just want to know if it does.
Okay.
My calculus students were working a problem where I only gave them information from 0 to 3 the other day. I gave them all this stuff that had calculus terminology in it. And through that, and I told them it was an even function. And I only gave them information from 0 to 3. Yet I asked them to graph it from -3 to 3. Okay? So the students got a picture that looked like this. And they've only got information from 0 to 3 that make themselves draw that picture.
Oh.
Okay? But since it was even, they should have been able to complete the picture with no work whatsoever. Do y'all see what I mean? No more math work if it's even.
Right.
All right, Bailey, after Bailey's perception, let me draw this one if it was odd. Okay? So this point that might be 1, 2, 3, -1. What's the opposite of 3, -1? Complete opposite. Of 3, -1 is -3, +1.
Yeah.
Okay? And 0, 0 is just locked in. All right, this point is 2, 0, so what do you want? How can you take the opposite of 2, 0? -2, -0, that's just -2, 0.
Yeah.
And then we got to be careful here. Let's say this point is 1, 1. What's the complete opposite of 1, 1?
-1.
Okay? And then do you see I'm able to draw the picture? I would have a hard time drawing that picture myself if I didn't do it by opposite points. You can double check it through the origin machine. Do you see how these points are getting pulled through the origin machine and pop out the other side? Danielle, a question?
So, like, an odd graph would just be like the like a point and then the opposite of that point.
Okay, so this is what I'm saying. You'll get to where you're looking at this. Okay, so you're eventually going to be looking at really graphs, okay? This one on the left, what do you think this is? Even or odd? Even. What do you think this one is?
Odd.
Odd. All right, now, to make you proud of yourself, I'm going to scroll down. Oh, that's not the side I wanted. Let's go to this side. All right, so what do you think this one is? Even. What do we think that one is? Odd. I'm going to have to teach you how to test it, though, because we can't just look at it and know for sure, but that's where you start, okay? There's sometimes you can be tricked, but we're not worried about that right now. But anyway, now to make yourself look proud, look where I got these pictures from.
College algebra.
College algebra, okay? So, Rebecca?
I understand the even and the odd, but I'm a little confused about the neither.
Oh, lots of graphs are neither. If it just doesn't have any symmetry, like this one right here looks even that I just pulled up here. I'm sorry, it doesn't look even. What does this one look like? It looks odd. But they're extra special if they have that, okay? Like think of how many how many faculty members are not pregnant. There are a few that are. Ms. Carcaterra, Dr. Gallo. But I mean, so that's special, okay? So lots of graphs are neither. A whole lot of graphs are neither, so if it's even or odd symmetry, I just want to know it because it makes it special, makes it easier to deal with. So neither is just like it doesn't have any of the symmetry. Okay? Now, let me answer her question, then I'll go to Gianna's. Rebecca and everybody else, because you'll have this question also. Definitely, Rebecca, and I would say that this graph right here that I'm going to draw in purple, I don't think we can deny that graph has some symmetry, but it's not even.
Right.
It doesn't fold over the y-axis. Do y'all see what I mean?
Yes.
Even is if this is my axis, it's evenly distributed over the y-axis. That one has symmetry that you would talk about one day, but that's not what we're talking about right now.
Okay.
If I did this, then we would highly suspect that it's even, right?
Yes.
All right, Yana?
So if you're looking at are all opposite points on the graph, is that always going to be odd?
Odd.
Odd. Okay. So then I guess you can always just check if a function is odd by just looking at the points.
Yeah, but we'll need more than that eventually because graphs really have an infinite amount of points and it's hard to check them all. So we've got a different test, but that's for another day.
Oh.
Okay? All right, now let's go to your analyzing graphs. So your job, by the way, will be you'll be drawing. Okay, you'll kind of have a fun drawing exercise. And please let me know. Maybe start it early so in case you have a question, you can come by and ask it. Now let's look at this other thing I had pulled up real quickly. Now this is what we've been talking about earlier. All right, so I'm switching gears. Get out your homework sheets. Okay.
They analyze the graph?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, I would say this one's increasing from negative infinity to negative 2. The great thing about Delta Math is it continues to show you, if you miss one, it'll shade it for you, like this is what you should have said. So it's increasing from negative infinity to negative 2, and it's also increasing from 2 to infinity. Y'all see the arrows up there? Girls, are y'all okay with that?
Yes.
This one's decreasing from negative 2 to 2. This graph also has the new value that it happens to be odd. Yana, this point looks like 2, negative 16.
Right.
And this point looks like negative 2, positive 16. You see what she was noticing?
Yeah.
Okay? So I'll just throw that in there. I've talked to a lot of people, thank goodness, that are starting to come by the Math Center a lot and feeling comfortable with that. Relative, or sometimes they're called local, relative maxes and mins. Relative maximums are any hill, minimums are any valley. Maximums are any hill, minimums are any valley. Absolute max of n means that's the highest one that it ever went, okay? So here, this is a relative maximum and this is a relative minimum. Is this the absolute maximum in this picture?
Absolutely. No.
Because of the arrow, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so I don't even have absolute max or min in this picture, all right? X-intercepts, I would just estimate negative 3.5, 0, and 3.5. Do y'all see what I mean?
Yes.
Y-intercept looks like the only one is 0, 0. Okay, so those are all words we need to know. All right, now get out your analyze the graph worksheet that looks like this first. So, and everybody fill this in. I'm going to go through all the answers. So you're getting this one out. Everybody got this one?
Yes.
Okay, this is the one I want out right now. Okay, number one. Number one, we X'd out and you will not be responsible for that.
Yes.
Number two. And you want these answers right for quizzes and for tests. Sorry, it's not responding. I'm going to shrink this kitten. All right. So number two. It's all of a sudden ignoring me. Okay. Number two. Come on. Please. All of a sudden it's just quit on me. And I can't make it do it. Hang on. Well, it's just because I'm using the cursor. The pen, for some reason, is not working anymore. Okay, so I'm going to quit QuickTime and go to the board, so everybody pay really close attention.